recently was the Chief Operating Officer of Tiger Software. I am now the Chief People Officer of Rev.io. With me today, I have Tony Maynard, who leads the training and implementation team on the PSA side. He has actually onboarded a lot of our clients, including some clients here up front. So excited today to tell you a little bit of the backstory of TigerPaw. I'm going to get out of the way. After that, I'm going to go to Tony, who's going to go into some detail about the software, and I'll come back to wrap it up and talk about some of the preliminary plans to integrate the PSA platform with the core Rev.io platform. So, that please. Our remote's not working. So a little bit about our company history. So we were founded in 1984 in Omaha, Nebraska. Still have the majority of the PSA employees are located in that area. We have 50 employees coming over to Rev.io, which makes Rev.io, as of Monday, 174 employees strong. So it's pretty impressive. And we have over 800 clients using the software today. So the software is purpose-built, meaning that as our clients needed things and changed their businesses, we grew with them and evolved the software with them. It really focused on end-to-end for unique needs of technology service organizations. So you might be wondering, what does that mean, technology service organizations? So primarily, we have been serving folks who provide services in the following categories: AV installation and integration, managed IT services, also known as MSPs, managed print services, security and alarm, voice and unified communications. So what is unique, I think, about our solution compared to some of the other platforms that are out there is that we really are geared towards converged service providers. And if you look at those 800 plus customers who we serve, over 50% of them provide 2 or more of these primary services. We also can support services in a number of different areas, and the second keynote yesterday talked about adding different revenue streams. That's what we've been able to support for our clients as they've grown and added different revenue streams, again, in the technology space, things that are on the network typically. We've grown with them, and so while these are the primary services that our clients have offered, there are a number of other services that they offer as well that we are able to support. So let's talk about the problems that we solve. So there's 7 primary business challenges that we help our clients solve. And Tony's going to go into a good deal of detail on these and show you some screenshots of the software. But disparate systems, this came up yesterday. A few different speakers talked about disparate systems. A lot of times clients come to us, they might be using Salesforce for their CRM, QuickBooks for their inventory, whiteboards, chalkboards, paper for dispatching, and we help put it all together in one unified platform. Inventory, we have clients come to us, and when we say inventory, it doesn't just mean that you actually have inventory on stock. If you are actually shipping inventory direct to your clients and managing assets there, we call that inventory as well. But clients come to us with challenges with inventory of over-ordering, not knowing what the heck they have in stock, showing up on a job site without the requisite pieces and parts, and that can be really embarrassing and really, really costly. And we like to say that we have one of the best inventory management systems short of $1 million ERP system. It is actually one of the strengths of the solution, and while Tony will touch on it a little bit today, we'd love to actually show you some deeper capabilities of it if you schedule some time with us. Scheduling challenges. Our clients come to us talking to us about technicians showing up and not having the right skill set to solve the problem that the client might have, or not showing up, or showing up late, or overlapping with other technicians. And so we can help with some sophisticated dispatching that can actually automatically identify which technician should be assigned to jobs. So it's pretty helpful there. Speaking of those technicians, a lot of our clients come to us not having any idea how well or how efficiently the technicians are working, or if the technicians are working. And we can help put some KPIs in place and maximize that utilization of those technicians so you're getting full value out of that expensive labor. Project inefficiencies, the typical story that we hear in the sales process when we're talking to prospects is, I was doing a complex project and I found out after the project was done that we were underwater, that we lost money on it. And that's something that we really are very proud of, is the ability, and Tony's going to show you some screenshots of this, the ability to help you manage projects along the way, to track your profitability early, and to know well before the end of the project whether you're making any money on the project or not. And inconsistent cash flow. So this is where the intersection of the core Rev.io platform and the TigerPaw platform is really going to come into play. For us, the primary problems we've been solving is clients coming with manual invoicing, manual payment processing, capturing a lot of checks, chasing people down, and we help them get there. But what we're really excited about in integrating with the core Rev.io platform is to be able to offer the much more sophisticated billing that the core Rev.io platform offers today. As our clients have grown, and Tony will tell you, a lot of them are looking for that. And so this is where there's really, you think about what Sarah said yesterday, that capturing the strengths of both platforms together, this is where we think the great intersection is going to happen. And then finally, losing money on contracts. In the service areas that our clients operate, contracts are becoming more and more prevalent. They're getting that recurring revenue, but very frequent situation is that they have no idea whether they're making money on those contracts or not. They just don't have the reporting that allows them to do that, and we enable them to do that. And as long as you're tracking the time, the materials appropriately within the system, which it allows you to do, then you can actually monitor that profitability of the contract along the way. All right, now I'm going to do what I do best. I'm going to get out of the way, and I'm going to let Tony dazzle you with his knowledge of the platform and some details about what I just shared.
Thank you, Joe. Oh, my voice comes through. Perfect. So what I want to do is I want to go into a little bit more detail about these topics and show some screenshots of how we solve these problems. So let's go ahead and get started with the first one, the desperate system issue that we were talking about. The benefits of having everything in one platform are fairly clear. I know that's a little small, but I'm going to blow it up in a minute, so don't worry about it. Everything you need, whenever a customer calls you, everything that you need is in Rev.io PSA. You look for the account, and then you can look very quickly at any open contracts they have, any quotes, invoices, projects, the works. It's all right there. And more importantly, you can see if there's anything that needs your attention. So the summary of every account, because we're dealing with every aspect of your business, is going to let you know, is there any notes there? Is there any past due tasks? Do I have any open projects? Any active contracts? And clicking on one of those buttons will give you a list of the items that are causing that button to be orange. And then of course, this is a representation of everything that Rev.io PSA can do. So from scheduling, sales and marketing, service projects, invoicing, inventory, and because we're doing all of that, we have some powerful reports and analytics built into the interface. One of my favorite features in TigerPaw, you hear me talk about it all the time, is our matrix, which allows us to bring all of this information into an analytical view. So you have the ability to come in here and customize what rows show up, what data shows up. This serves two purposes. From a sales perspective, if I was a salesperson, I would come into work, I would open up this view, and I would know all of my deals that I have going on. And not only do I know every deal that I have going on, I also can see if any of those deals have quotes, and I'm on the same view. I can just expand that deal and look at the one or more quotes that may be created for it, and go in there, work it, schedule my next follow-up task, and continue on with my day. You notice all those little flags along the side, those green flags? Whoever sales rep this is, they're doing a bang-up job because they're completely on schedule. So those green flags mean that what I have to do for that next is in the future. And if you saw any orange flags there, that would mean that what I have to do next is today. Any red flags would be past due. And any blue flags would be, you don't have any future facing task on there. And if it's still an open opportunity, you're in some trouble. So we have that same logic built throughout all of the system. But also from, like, let's say a service perspective, here's a service matrix. I have the ability as a manager, of course my technician can bring up a list of their service orders that are just scheduled to them, and they can do the same thing with the tasks. But from a manager perspective, maybe I want to see all my open tickets, and then I might want to group it by tech, and I can kind of see very easily everything that's going on. You can customize these, and I help people customize these all the time to fit your needs. Something else TigerPod deals with that Joel brought up, contract management. Let's take a look at all of our contracts in the same type of matrix view. We can see, in this case, those flags mean they're either active or expiring. We can organize all of these by when they expire. We can even do calculations on what the contract price is in this view directly. It's extremely powerful stuff. And then inventory. Inventory allows me to, if I was a procurement person within an organization, I may want to see all my open purchase orders, and I want to see one view of everything that and when I can expect it in. As those items come in, I can easily find that purchase order, receive the items, and that is the starting point, the tip of the iceberg for our inventory management control. And I just, speaking of icebergs, touched on the tip of it for the matrix. Every single data point that Rev.io PSA stores within the system allows you to bring that data into this customizable format. So let's go into a little bit more detail about inventory. So we already touched on, working purchase orders and all of that, but I think it goes deeper. What I love about this is whether you're a salesperson, whether you're a service technician, whenever you go to add an item to a record within Rev.io PSA, you know the current stock counts and what's going on with that item. If I'm a sales individual and I'm going to make a quote for a customer, I'm going to go ahead and throw an item on and know, oh, we have this on hand. So I can communicate to the customer that I can get it to them soon. If I don't have any on hand, I can communicate that we'll have to order it. But I'm keeping track of a lot here. How many we have totally in the warehouse? How many are on order? Reserved? How many have been set aside for other customers? How many that we have on other jobs that needed to fill? That means this item might be on other jobs that we haven't filled yet. And so we might want to take that into consideration. And then, of course, in bold, how many I have available. Giving this kind of information easily accessible to people that are working with your clients day in and day out is immensely helpful. But we don't stop there. You can drill into that item and you can look at the locator to find out, okay, I have 4, where are they? And I can tell multiple locations, bins, min-max. Rev.io PSA gives you the ability to run a report that says, I recommend you order these items to keep everything in stock the way that you want, the levels that you want. And if you think an item might have walked out the door, take a look at the movement log so you can see who last worked with that particular item. This movement log is going to take you through everything, from every time you purchased a new product, to when you've assigned it to a job, to when you've invoiced it and it's left your inventory, to there's any physical adjustments that have been made by an employee or any adjustments that may be the cause of physical inventories. It's all right here. And those document numbers are hyperlinked, so you want to drill in even deeper? Feel free, you can. We keep a very detailed list of what happens to your inventory. We sell a product in Rev.io PSA, and it doesn't end there. That product may leave your inventory, but it goes into the customer assets. Now, from the asset table, you have the ability to create service orders and keep track of service history on that product. You even have the ability to dive into that product to validate when it was purchased, where it was purchased from, how much it was purchased for, and if there's any warranty on that product, it is logged in there, and the system can automatically notify you and your customer when that warranty for that product comes up for expiration. So it is a full circle process here. So let's change gears a little bit, and let's talk a little bit about the scheduling challenges that come up often when we're working with, especially in these times, with on-site techs, in multiple locations, and all of that. In this particular system, we come with a full-fledged dispatch board. Dispatch board has drag and drop functionality. You can see all of your technicians. You simply drag and drop up the tickets that you want to schedule. And once a ticket is scheduled, your technicians have some options on how they should work that ticket. They can work that ticket from the employee portal if they want to. Some people love that. Open it up on a laptop or a tablet, get a lot of detail, go in, track their time, track their notes. But more importantly, from their mobile device. We have a mobile app that as soon as you schedule a ticket, that tech knows it's on their agenda and they can go in and they can track their time. And as they go through the motions of traveling out to the site, of getting out there and tracking and starting the timer for their work, the people back at home base looking at that dispatch board, these little icons will start to change to let you know what's happening in real time. A tech is en route, a tech has got there, they're working on the ticket now. A tech has finished the ticket. You can see that in real time just because they're doing what they need to do in the mobile app. The mobile app simplifies the most important information you can get from your technicians, and that is how much time did they spend and what did they do? Notes and time. It even allows them to add parts from their truck if they need to, but notes and time captured in the moment. And your customers aren't left out in the dust either. Built into Rev.io PSA is a customer portal. Your customers can sign in, they can request service, they can request a quote, which creates an opportunity on the back end. But more importantly, it gives them the opportunity to see all of the tickets that you want them to see, and they can go in there and see what was done. They can see what's going on, what stage is that ticket in, what status, what was the last thing that was done. They have access to that if you want them to. Right. So if we're doing all of this within one platform, then we should be able to bring together some utilization and KPIs, key performance indicators. And we most certainly can. The most important one that I turn people on to when I onboard them is technician utilization. A lot of people don't, their techs tell them, I'm busy, I'm busy, I'm busy, I'm busy. I'm so busy. But the other side of that equation, the invoicing that's happening, isn't quite lining up with how busy they say they are. So the best thing to do is just capture that and create a data-driven approach, which Rev.io PSA allows you to do. So let's go back to that dispatch board that I was talking about. The first thing that we allow is, as you're scheduling, we allow you to kind of keep an eye from a color-coded perspective on the scheduled utilization of an individual. So let's blow that up a little bit and let's take a look at this. If I had another ticket that I needed to schedule, I probably wouldn't schedule it to Anthony over there. That green means he's over 80% scheduled for that day. Now, I could give it to Emily, Heidi, Kaylee, but I'm probably going to schedule my next thing for Mike because he's only 50% scheduled for that particular day. But being able to see that color code and being able to drag and drop and kind of disperse the ticket schedule across my technicians is pretty powerful. And that's just scheduled utilization. Let's make sure that they're being scheduled effectively. But being scheduled to do something is one thing. Of course, the tech needs to go out there with the mobile app and log their time and add their notes. Or if they're working within the Rev.io desktop application, they can log their time and add their notes. That gives us information on what they did. So if the schedule is what they were supposed to do, the time log is what they did. And that allows us, whether that's from the desktop app or the mobile app, but that allows us to really bring everything together in a dashboard view of technician utilization that allows me to see visually what they did throughout the week. So in this case, Ryan, wow, he blew it out of the park on Friday, 82% utilized to goal. That's perfect, that's good. Didn't quite hit the rest of it, so for the week, he's not looking too hot. This is the kind of information that helps you and helps your techs visually see where they are throughout the week and allow them to kind of police themselves in some cases. It's happened multiple times while I've been onboarding new clients when they see this. When a tech looks at this view, they don't see this bottom part, which is just all of the time that they've spent, how much of it is contractor invoiceable. That's for the managers to see. All they see is how much time I've logged and how much of that is utilized. There's a lot of setup that can go into this, but it's really easy and I help people do it every single day. Once you have it done, it transforms the businesses that I've worked with. This is the single most important KPI that we can do. And if you're wondering, oh man, people are just gonna look at this and then turn around and just go fluff their time, right? No, that's not gonna happen because you can approve time and then it locks it down. So the most successful companies that have used this approve time on a daily basis. So since, if you kind of think about it here, we're managing the sales cycle, we're creating quotes, we're managing the service, we're scheduling technicians out. We haven't really talked about it too much, but of course we invoice out of the system and we're managing inventory and purchasing. All of those are steps usually in a larger project. So we have a feature built into Rev.io PSA called Projects, aptly named, and it strives to help with to solve these project inefficiencies that we usually come up against. So first and foremost, our projects functionality is a scheduling tool. It allows us to put in phases, subphases, estimated dates, actual dates, and as you work a project, you will plug in those dates, and if you get done with something early or later than expected, the system even allows you to cascade the rest of the schedule. Well, you got done with this early, do you want to move the estimated completion date up, or you got done with this late, do you want to push everything out, or are you confident you can catch up? It does a lot of that automatically based on the dependencies from phase to phase. So being able to work in a view like this as a project manager and have all of these phases linked to things like service orders and that is very helpful. It gives you kind of one pane of glass to see what's going on from the scheduling perspective. So it does help keep you on time. My favorite part of projects is how it helps you stay on budget, both the customer's budget, but also you can see at any point in time what's going on. On the project view, moving over to project summary, I have these project totals. So because we're quoting, servicing, and invoicing in a single platform, we have the capabilities of displaying how much I thought I was going to sell, that's quoted sell, how much is currently sitting on service orders right now, 22 out went up a little bit, and how much I've posted to date. So how much have I actually invoiced? So you can see that information within the project totals. I can also see if there's any variations in the cost between what I thought, what's currently happening on the job, and what was invoiced, and what effect, if any, that has on my profit. It breaks it out further between materials and labor, so if there is any discrepancies, I can kind of start to drill in to what may have caused that. But you know, it's really great to find what may have caused a discrepancy during the project as you're going, instead of waiting until the very end. And this gives you that insight as you work your project. And the last thing that I want to kind of spend some time on today is this concept of losing money on contracts. We track a lot of different kinds of contracts in the PSA application. whether it's a time period contract or an hourly usage contract or a block time contract, prepaid, even something as complicated as multiple meter contracts, which make those pretty simple to set up in the system for people that may be interested or are already in the managed print services industry. But the most important thing about having a contract that's billing out of Rev.io PSA is this contract profitability report. This contract profitability report will tell you at any point in time whether you're making money or losing money on a contract. And a lot of people that I've helped get set up with this run it before they renew before they renew the contract, because they want to see, did this make me the profit margin? Did this make me the money that I thought it was going to make? You'll be surprised by what some people find out. Overall, their company is profitable, but it's because they have some cash cows that don't use the contracts that as effectively as they probably should be. A lot of extra money coming in from them, and then we have people that are abusing the contracts, not as much money as they would have expected. So being able to find that information, data-driven, and turn around and make some changes increases growth tenfold. And all of this information is in here because Rev.io PSA tracks it. All of the revenue that comes in, any costs of labor, any costs of material that go into satisfying that contract. When we talk about labor, we have the ability to track different kinds of labor within the system, and that different kinds of labor translates to different potential costs. It costs you more to roll a truck out to an on-site location than it does a remote tech logging in and fixing an issue for a client. So making sure that they choose the right reason codes translates to accurate costs against the contract revenue, giving you that profitability I just showed you. And no matter how complicated, as I mentioned before, your contract is, we can track it. Whether it's time period, whether it's hourly, like I said before, hourly usage, or even multiple meter contracts built right into the same interface. If you're in or thinking about getting into the managed print space, you now have a tool with Rev.io PSA that will allow you to build those copy contracts, supporting all of the different billing styles, and even having some cool automated price escalation, percents by months, and price locking. Whatever your contract terms are, we support it, and we track it, and we report back on that profitability. That's just a sampling of the problems that I solve for clients that come on board with Rev.io PSA. I'd like to thank you for taking the time to kind of listen to me and watch this. I want to turn this back to Joel, who's going to talk a little bit more about our plans for the future.
Thank you, Tony. Before we do that, questions for Tony about what he shared? We do have some time to entertain some questions.
You have multiple texts or resources per a single ticket?
Yes, you can. Yep. You have a lead, and then you have associated technicians that come along with that. And everyone can log time, everybody can log their notes, everyone can work that ticket.
What integrations do you have with the dispatching schedule?
Office 365 currently, so if we schedule anything within the system, it will automatically sync with your Outlook calendar, so no matter what calendar a tech is looking at, it's going to be accurate. And it's a two-way sync, so it also, if you have meetings scheduled in Outlook, then when you go to schedule something within Rev.io PSA, it'll say there's a conflict there, don't schedule it. You'll see it within the dispatch board.
Is Google on the work on the roadmap?
It's a feature request that we have been looking into. I don't have an ETA on it though, right now.
And the last question I had on the contract, like to see your gross profit, is there an option to see percentages versus your dollar amount?
Currently there is not natively within the system. A report could be made that would be able to show that. Right now we're focused on the dollar amount in our reports. It's a great question. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned about the inventory, and when you order something, like automatically goes to your bank account right now. So how does that work, that process? I mean, I'm assuming you have to place, when you place the order with your vendor, wherever that is, you have to then enter it there.
Yeah, so you would place the order through your vendor online, or you would call them, but usually the request to even do that starts within Rev.io PSA. Somebody would create a purchase order that would basically notify the orderer to order it in, and then when it comes in, you would track that it came in through the system, so we would have that entry point into the system. So, and there are some features in the works to sync more closely with vendors and allow you to actually create a purchase order within the system and have that actually order the product. But most of the people that I've worked with are purchasing from different sources that we don't have that for. So they just, the purchase order in the system is a request purchasing to order the product. Does that make sense?
Another inventory question.
Yeah.
Our guys talk a lot about the concept of like a mobile warehouse idea. We roll trucks. I want to be able to track inventory on each truck in real time and let that tech pull a phone off the truck and plug it in if the customer needs it.
Yeah.
How would you guys handle that in the system?
Well, we support multiple inventory locations within the system. A lot of those are trucks in my experience. Each truck has its own set of products that you put on that truck, and we have what are called workflow events within the system that automatically notify people when an item goes below a threshold. So if they're using it, which with our mobile app, they can grab a part from their truck right in real time and use it on the job. If that sends it below a certain threshold, it can send a notification to the inventory manager that truck 3 is low on this, and let's get it in. Let's get it let's replenish it.
Very cool.
Does it do that, get it checked out? Or does it-
Yeah, it's called filling in the system, but yes. Yeah.
One thing you mentioned, you said you could build these, I guess, modules or like task types to fit your business needs. Is it, if we have like a quote module, for example, is it smart enough when a quote gets sold to automatically create the new service order and pull that information, or is that a manual?
Yeah, no, everything is tied together. It's kind of like a whole process. So if we create a quote within the system, when that quote is approved by the customer, we will click a button and that quote will automatically become one or more service orders that are then going to be scheduled, and all of the items and the estimated labor that was on that quote will transfer to now the service department for scheduling and
Do you have a DocuSign integration with the?
with the quoting we do, yeah, we have an integration with DocuSign. So you can click a button, sends the quote out to the customer signs it, and it'll update the status in Rev.io PSA at every step of the way. Sent, delivered, signed, declined. And if they sign it, it's really neat because it'll automatically attach the signed copy of the quote directly into the Rev.io PSA documents folder for that quote.
From like a managed print perspective, talking about for the contracts, what options are there for getting the meters in on those particular contracts to develop?
Pretty agnostic. We have what's called the data collection import. So you customize, like any DCA can export information in a format of however they do it, right? In CSV or Excel. You can import that directly into the system. You create a custom template, and then you basically say, here's the meter, here's the device ID, here's the count, and you just run the import. Or if your DCA can email you that report, you set it up completely automatic. You tell your DCA to email a special email address that Rev.io PSA is monitoring. It scrapes that email for the file with all of the counts, and then it does the import for you. And it looks for a new file, or whenever an email comes in on a daily basis or a weekly basis, a schedule of your choosing. And that is kind of how we have decided to get around some of the ownership of a lot of the flagship DCAs like FM Audit and some things like that.
Does it have kind of handling to clean up? Because obviously, like month to month, you only have one of those meters that ends up needing to be due. If you're doing some sort of an import daily, you're going to be starting to build a database of a lot of meters that will go with it.
Within a billing period, every import just, if it's higher, it just overwrites it for that time frame, so that you're only billing on the last import that was done versus the last time it was billed. Does that make sense? That's what you're billing for. So it doesn't save every single meter that gets imported if you're doing it more than often. It just looks for the highest number. Yes?
If you don't have your own technicians use third-party vendors for dispatches to system integrate with others?
So what it does is we have a subcontractor function built into the system where you can create subcontractors that have access to their own portal. And so you can assign subcontractors to tickets within Rev.io PSA, and then they can log into a portal and see all of their assigned tickets, add their notes, update the status, and work that.
Track in inventory, you have the option like to track serial numbers, so you know like which particular device was
Oh yeah,
actually assigned to which order?
100%. We have full serialized tracking across the board. You select whether a product is important enough to be serialized, and if it is serialized, then we have you put that serial number in at the point that it comes into the system when you receive it, and then we have serial number inquiries, and that will follow through the entire process within Rev.io PSA, all the way up to the customer asset side that I was talking about before. So if you search for a serial number, you can find out who you sold it to, when you sold it, who you bought it from. It's fully tracked within the system. Did that answer your question?
Another question, how is the integration with Rev.io, the core Rev.io, so like the project?
We're going to talk about that in just a few minutes. Yeah, no, that's a great question. Yes?
I'm assuming that if I'm working on a project or a quote or a ticket, the customer emails me, I have a way to put that email correspondence in the ticket so everybody else can view it later, correct?
You do, yes. Yep, you can either attach the email directly, or you can even email and communicate out of Rev.io PSA, and it will log to the notes automatically.
Is that 365 only, or is that?
From an email monitoring perspective, it is not 365 only. That does support Gmail and other, if you have any, I don't know if anyone does this anymore, but if you have your own Exchange servers or anything else, the own email servers, it supports those too.
Then what remote management and monitoring solutions do you guys integrate with?
Right now we integrate with Continuum and Enable are the two main ones that we integrate with. But that's a great question. We are open for more, but that's the two that we have that are the strongest.
All right, I'm gonna cut the questions so we can end on time. Thank you again, Tony. So the question came up about the integration of the platform, so I just wanted to share a little bit of detail about where we're going. Tony, if you hit. So the very first thing we're gonna do is do integration of the Rev.io payment options with the PSA platform, and that is expected to be completed in Q4 of this year. Scott's team does a great job. Could be a little bit earlier than that, but we'll see. Unlikely, but it's currently in the works. And then we'll shift the pressure to Kevin, who's in the back. He's going to be working to help scope out. By the end of October, we'll have the full scoping. So we don't know yet exactly how all the pieces are going to integrate, but I do want to go back to what Sarah said yesterday. We're going to be working to identify what are the strongest suits of each of the platforms, and Kevin is going to be meeting with clients and internal stakeholders to identify the cross-platform integration of billing and taxation with anticipated rollout of that integration in Q1 of next year. But we're still in the scoping process for that, actually just getting started on the scoping process, and Kevin, who's in the back, is going to be leading that.
It's a typo, right? 24.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna go backwards in time.
Already done.
For the acquisition and fix it and yes. All right, so I love the questions. If you have more questions, you can talk to your CSA at Rev.io. We also have a bunch of our PSA sales team in the back who, if you want to stick around and ask any questions, they'll be happy to meet with you and do deeper dive demos if you'd like. I know they've done a few already during the summit, but really appreciate your time today and really appreciate your interest in the PSA solution. So thank you.
Thank you.